Hello, friends. I'm Heidi with Onigo Stamping. Welcome to my craft corner. I am so excited that you are joining me tonight because if you know me, I am all about textures, layers, and patterns, right? And the cards that I have to share with you tonight are all those. Plus, it's a slimline card and it's perfect for spring. I think that you are absolutely going to love it. If you are joining me live, go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know that you're watching live with me tonight. If you aren't live, that's okay too. Go ahead and let me know that you're watching the replay. I love that you guys are here and watching. Thank you. Before I get started tonight, if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator and help you out. Whether you are just starting with card making or you've already been doing it for a while. If you look in the description to this video on YouTube, you're going to find a whole bunch of links. You can sign up for my newsletter there. You can find the link to jump over to my Facebook group page, all sorts of stuff there. And I would love to hang out with you more. So, hi, Kimberly. Welcome. So glad you're here. All right. Enough chit chat. Oni go. Let's get stamping. So just going to flip my cameras around here, and here we go. Here is the stamp set that I'm going to be using tonight, which is the Flowering Rain Boots stamp set. Love this set. It's so cute, and it is perfect for spring. Now, along with the stamp set, I'm also going to be using the 6x6 pattern paper. Now, these aren't the colors that I'm using for tonight's card, but I just wanted to show you these. These are the 2020-2022 ink colors, which means these are the ink colors that are going to retire right now. And this is the pattern paper. So every year, Stampin' Up! Comes out with a set of monochromatic pattern papers. There's two of each. There's two different designs. So you can see here's the plaid and kind of like this, I don't know what it is. It's a cross thing. And then the square and dots. And every year the pattern is a little bit different, but they always come out with them. And you're going to love the ones that are coming out for this next year in the new catalog. So I'm going to set those aside, and I'm going to pull out stuff that we're actually using tonight. So, like I said, this is a slimline card. That means I am starting with a piece of Pool Party cardstock. This cardstock is 8.5 by 7, and I just scored it in the center at 3.5 to make my slimline card. So I'll go ahead and just fold this in half, line it up, and then give it a good squish with my bone folder. Hopefully you can see that okay. My camera's trying to, balance where my camera is, and it's a little bit hard to get the whole card in the picture there. So next, I have a piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock. This is, 3 1/8 by 8 1/8. And of course, all of these dimensions are going to be on my blog, on my website later, either tonight or tomorrow morning. And then I have a piece of that 6x6 pattern paper in Bermuda Bay. I'm going to glue this on the top. Now this piece is 6 inch by 3 inches. And I am just gluing this with a little bit of multi-purpose glue. Now I am going to make this card tonight a little bit different than I made the sample card. And you guys can tell me at the end which one you like better. I just decided to change up the patterns a little bit. So you tell me which one you like better later. All right, so that's going right there at the top. And then I have another piece of that pattern paper. Now this one is in Mossy Meadow, okay? And I'm going to use the plaid on this. This piece is, I think, 6 inches or 3 inches by 2 inches. So just put some multi-purpose glue on there as well. And then this is going to go right down here at the bottom. Now, if it needs to overlap just a little bit to get your borders aligned, that's fine. That part is not going to show. So we'll just pop that right on there. Okay, now we have this nice rectangle. I'm going to set that aside for just a minute. And I am going to start with our stamping. If I can find, right, here's some white. And then I actually want to do some paper piecing tonight. And of course, I pulled out a piece. Now I can't find it. So we'll just do a different one. Let me get out the piece. Here we go. All right. So here's a piece of the Bumblebee designer paper. Okay. Now this is one of the retiring ink colors. So it's Bumblebee. I'm going to grab my little rain boots here, and I actually want to use a color that is lost. I wanted to use crushed curry for this, and my crushed curry ink pad has gone missing. That's what I get for not getting my inks out ahead of time. Well, maybe I'll have to use Bumblebee. I liked using the crushed curry because it's just a little bit darker, which really helps it show up a little bit more. I'm just kind of looking around, but I cleaned up pretty well tonight. That's very odd. I literally had my crushed curry ink pad yesterday. No idea where it has gone to. It's probably fallen on the floor someplace. Lost. All right, so I will ink up my rain boots. I'm going to ink these up in Bumblebee. I'm going to get this nice and inky. My Bumblebee ink pad is a little bit dry. I should re-ink it, but the re-inkers are already sold out. So it's on its way out, right? All right, so I'm just going to stamp that right on my piece of pattern paper. Now, hopefully that shows up well enough. It does. It really does look better with the crushed curry, but I don't know where that ink pad went to. That's the darndest thing. Oh, wow. Moving on. All right. So now I have the stems to my flowers, and I'm going to grab, oh, you know what? You know why I couldn't find it? Because it's sitting here next to me because I pulled the ink pads out. You guys, I'm a nut. What can I say? And now I stamp that on there, and I don't know if I have another piece. Let's see. Oh, maybe. Oh, I do. All right. We're going to try it again. It looks good. All right. Well, we'll try this again, and you can tell me which one looks better. So now I'm going to ink this up with the crushed curry. We'll try this again. There we go. So that crushed curry really is kind of the same color as the Bumblebee. It's just darker. So coral. And I'm going to ink up the tops of my tulips. Now I'm not going to put these on top of the stems because we're actually going to die cut these. So I'm going to stick these over here. Now you could just leave them just like that and cut them out just like that, not worry about it. But I kind of like them to be a little bit more colored in, especially since, all right. Well, if you're watching on Facebook, apparently you're not watching anymore on Facebook. So sorry, I just got a notice from my streaming service just popped up. Oh, this isn't working on Facebook. All right, well, I'm in the middle of things right now. I can't do anything about that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I have the light Mossy Meadow Stampin' Blend, and I'm just going to take this and I'm going to color right over those leaves. Now, all of those little dots that are in that shaded area, they're going to kind of all blend together. They're not going to be little dots anymore, but they are going to give shading. So this is a super easy way to color and get some shading in there. You really don't have to do anything. Just going to go over it with the Stampin' Blends. Now you could also color these with watercolor markers or something like that. That would work too. This has really been kind of my go-to method with these stamps. So just coloring all that in, just going to take me just a minute to color. What do you think? Hopefully you can still see that shading. It's a little bit small probably in the screen. But just coloring this all in, getting all the way over to the edges, trying not to go where I'm not supposed to because that is usually what I do. All right, and then I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to grab, let me see, I'm going to grab the light Calypso Coral to do the tops of my tulips here. And again, that's just going to kind of blend that color all together and make those super pretty. Really, really quick coloring. I mean, blends are already awesome, but with these stamps, they just work so well. There we go. So there's our tulips. Now we need to cut these out. So let me grab my cutting plate. You guys, the card tonight has so many different things in it. And I have 2 more cards to show you too after this. Like, I'm not going to demonstrate them because it would just take me too much time. But I do have some more samples to show you too. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and take my tulips and line this up. I am going to use washi tonight, I think. If I can get it started. Ah, I used to have some old washi that I have in my bin. If I can find the end of it. All right, there we go. Now, when I use washi to hold down my dies, I do like to take it and I just, put it on my shirt or my pants or something. That just gets a little bit of the sticky out because sometimes if it's a little bit too sticky, it will tear your paper, which is why sometimes I prefer not to use washi. All right, trying to get this lined up without getting my head right over top of it. There we go. And then we'll take this die here. And I'm gonna, even though this is sticking right in the right spot pretty well, it's really not jumping on me. I'm gonna go ahead and tape it down just because I really kind of want to try to get it in just the right spot. So again, just gonna put that on my shirt, get off a little bit of the sticky, and stick that down. All right, let's see, can I get this? Oh yes, we'll do the rain boots at the same time. So now we'll take our rain boots and put those over here. So line those up too, just like that. Ooh, yes. Oops. Got to do my sticky thing. That would surely tear. All right, so we'll stick that down. And now I'm going to put my top plate on top of this. If I can find my top plate. There we go. So I'll put my top plate right on top of that. And then we'll just run this right through. Thanks, Jamie. Oh, crank, crank, crank. Get my little bit of a workout here. You never thought you that. It really works really well on these. And there are some stamps coming up in the new catalog that I think it's going to work really well for those too. So any of those distinctive stamps, I think. All right, so there's our rain boots. Because I'll be honest, when I first got this set, I was a little bit, I don't know, like it wasn't, if you didn't color it, it seemed too white. And sometimes when you did color it, it'd get too dark and was really frustrated. So it took me a bit to kind of figure out, but the blends has really been my favorite method to use with it. All right. Just a little bit more stamping to do and cutting. So I'm going to grab, I have a piece of Pool Party here someplace. Here's my Pool Party. And I want to grab this stamp that says Live Life in Full Bloom. And I'm going to grab the Bermuda Bay, which is going to match this color right here. And I'm going to stamp the Bermuda Bay on my little scrap of Pool Party. There we go. So it's just like that. All right. And then we're going to cut this out with a circle dies. Where did my circle dies go? I'm so glad that they did not retire my circle dies because I would have been so sad. So sad. All right. I think it's this size. Let's see. Oh, no, that one's a little bit tiny. We'll go the next size up. That'll be perfect. Perfect, I think. So I'm just going to cut that out. And then I think we'll pretty much be done. Well, no, there's just a little bit more stamping and cutting to do. I tell you, this card has everything in it. Everything, because we're going to do some embossing. We're going to do some punching. Aw, thanks, Jamie. All right. So here is this circle. Oops, see how that tears? Even after I had taken that off, you got to be really careful because that washi is stronger than you think. All right. Let's start building. Actually, you know what? I forgot. Let's do our punching. we're not going to build yet. We're going to punch. We're going to punch. So I have another piece of pool party, and I feel like rain boots, rain, let's have some clouds, right? So we're going to punch out some pool party clouds, which I love. I love this cloud punch, and it is coming over in the new catalog too. So really excited because I love it. And then if you've been watching my cards, you know my favorite thing to do is to take the painted texture 3D embossing folder and emboss my clouds. I just think it gives them some nice cloudy looks. So and grab my base plate. This is 3D, so I need my blue plate special. If you have the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, it's going to be the gray plate. But if you're like me and you have the old one, it's blue. So blue plate special. And I'm going to run that through my Big Shot over here, or your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, of course. And now I have like textured clouds. So we'll set those aside. And now we can start building, I think. Start building our card. All right. So I'm going to take this right here. I'm going to start, let me see. I want to put on, actually want to tie on a bow on here first. I thought I was ready to start building, but we're going to do our fun, isn't that cloud punch great? We're going to do our fun trick with the white crinkled seam binding, another one of my favorites. I'm going to grab my dark Calypso coral. And I get my fingers messy when I do this because I just put my ribbon on there and then I put my thumb on it. And that's how I get my ink on it. So you can just color those. They dry really fast because these are alcohol markers. And it gives kind of like, it makes the ribbon just a little bit stiffer, which I think kind of helps it make a better bow in a way. But it does use, if you do this a lot, it will kind of use up your blends a little bit faster. So that's why I don't do it all the time. I think I do it more. The looks of it. Oh, look, hair. All right, so there's my colored ribbon. And I'm going to take this and tie this around my card. I'm going to cover up that seam right there. I might have to add more color to it. I'm pretty sure yeah. We'll see. No, that's not going to be long enough. I'm going to have to add more color. I always have to check and see, you know, how am I doing? Do I have enough? And then I end up making too much color. So, all right. Let's try this again. Line this up, put this on here. And now we'll tie this in a bow. Because you know me, I like bows. But this ribbon, and especially once you put those Stampin' blends on there, I don't know, it ties really well. Pretty easy to tie too. I'll say that, and then this one won't turn out. All right, there we go. Look at that. It just gives you such nice little bows. All right, so I want my bow just to be a little bit bigger than my little circle. Let's try it out. All right, I'll just pull this in just a little bit. There we go. And then we can snip this off with my ribbon paper snips. So there's our bow. Now I want to take my rain boots, and I'm going to put my rain boots on top of here. So these are going to come in like right here, I think. So I kind of, you know, I go back and forth a lot, like checking, all right, is that lining up where I want it? Do I want to move it over? So I do think I want to move this over just a little bit. I do a lot of futzing with things as I'm making them. So it's not all just, you know, super quick, slap it together. All right. But here's my rain boots. They're going to kind of go under the bow and over the ribbon. That's the other nice thing about this ribbon is it's really flat. It's really easy to adhere things over top of it. It really just is great. So now I'm just going to lay these on here for just a minute because I'm going to line up one of my clouds, but I want to get it in just the right spot. So put my tulips on there. So I want one of my clouds to come in just about here. I don't want it to be so far down on those flowers that it looks like the flowers are floating, but I want it to kind of be behind the flowers to kind of pull everything together. So that's just going to go right there. All right. And then we're going to bring in 2 more clouds and put them on the top. Oops, I just did that on the wrong side. All right, dry, dry, dry. Because I'm going to have to turn that over. All right, because I want this one to go this way. That was not going to work with that one. So this one's going to go right over here. There we go. And going a little bit off the edge of my paper. I'm going to trim those up in just a minute. Now this one, I actually want it on dimensionals. So hopefully my glue that is on there doesn't get in the way. We'll see. We'll find out. I'm going to put some dimensionals on here. I'm going to get my fingers all gluey as I do this. Do you guys ever make mistakes while you're stamping? I'm going to guess yes. All right, so this one's coming in up here at the top. And there's my 3 clouds. I'm going to go ahead and just trim these off. So I'll just flip this over. And I just put my scissors right up to the edge and just trim. My clouds. All right, now the bottom of these, I'm going to try this. I haven't done this before either, but I was looking at my sample card today and I was like, you know, I'm really annoyed that this white is right here. So I'm actually just going to take my paper snips and I'm cutting it off. I'm just cutting off that white. It was bugging me. I was like, I don't want white there. So I'm just going to trim that off. We'll see how it looks. Again, you can tell me which is better. You make a lot of design decisions. Yep. So we'll look at my sample when I get done and we'll look at this one and we'll decide which we like better, the cutoff stems or the not cutoff stems. I often, you know, sometimes just like this, I make cards over. So I get done with it and I go, oh, I really like this, but there's this, this, and this that I don't like about it. So then I end up remaking it. So, all right. There's our little tulip stems and we'll add some tulips to the top. My tulips are starting to poke through the ground. My tulips and my daffodils. How about you guys, where you are? Do you have flowers start to poke through the ground in your yard? Because I was out there counting them today. I wasn't sure how many of my tulips, I just planted the bulbs in the fall. And I wasn't sure how many were going to survive the chipmunks and squirrels that live in my yard. But I have at least 6 tulips coming up. So I'm really excited. And then my daffodils have been there for a while. The first year we moved in, my parents came and my parents were moving out of their house. So they had tons and tons, right? So they took out some daffodils before they put their house on the market and they brought them over and put them in my garden, which was super nice. All right, now I want to add some more, find my dimensionals. I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of my sentiment circle. And we'll put this on. Live life in full bloom. I just love that saying. So this, I'm just going to put this kind of towards the top. There we go. I think I'm going to cut off my little ends a little bit more. They're longer than I want. There we go. Now, I could almost stop right there. I'm going to put this on my card front and I could stop right there. But there's a little bit more. I got done. I was like, oh, I want to do this too. Because that's me. Let's take it and make it extra. But you could definitely, you know, if you didn't want to do any more, you're like, nope, you could stop right there. And that would be super, super cute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, I have strips of basic white. So whenever I'm cutting down the insides of my cards, you always end up with those little like 1/2-inch strips of basic white. And I just keep a huge stack of them by my desk so that I can pull them out and quickly just, you know, use them for sentiments and things. So I have one of those strips and I'm going to grab my Calypso Coral ink pad and I'm going to ink up my sentiment again. Now, obviously, the whole sentiment is not going to fit on there, right? I actually just want the bloom and I'm going to put it as far down kind of towards the bottom as I can. Let's see. Yep, that's pretty good. Yep, that's going to be good too. All right. Now a little bit of the tricky bit. Just a little bit of trickiness. I'm going to grab my paper trimmer. And I just want to take this. I'm going to put this in my trimmer. I'm going to cut this off about 2 inches. I kind of tested it yesterday and that seemed to be a good amount. Now what I want to do, I want to line this up. So hopefully my paper trimmer is going to cut right on the top of that. Let's see. Now I don't want to cut all the way across. I'm going to stop partway down, okay? And I'm going to lift this up and not move my paper, and I'm going to just push this down again at the other end down by that B, okay? So I have kind of a cut. I have a cut across there. Can you see that? So that's just like that. Then I'm going to take my paper snips, and I am going to do a little bit of trimming. We're going to kind of fussy cut around the roundness of these letters. Oops, a little bit too close there. And come up and do the top of my L. And then around the B. Thank you all for hanging in there with me tonight, because I know this is kind of a long one. All right, so now I have that, and then I just want to make some banner ends. So I'm going to hold this up so you can see it just a little bit better. I'm just going to cut from the corner to the center on each side. So that makes that banner, and then I'll do that over here again. So just from the corner to the center. And there is that. Now this, I'm going to take this, I'm going to put some dimensionals on here because everything gets dimensionals. All right. And then this is going to go right on over top of our sentiment. And we're just going to line it right up over the bloom that's already there. So there's that. And then the pièce de résistance. Now, unfortunately, these are gone. I just found that out. The waves rhinestones, which I think are so, so gorgeous, they're like gone. And of course, this is going to be the last 3 of this color that I have. Now, don't forget, I have 2 more samples to share with you, and we're going to look at my sample card of this so you can tell me which one you like better. All right. So let's see. And oh man, embellishments. I move them around a lot. So I try not to push them down too tight. I like lay them down and then I'll look at them, and then you can often just kind of move them. But I think that's pretty good, mostly because I already tried it on my sample card. Now, I did not cut it. Well, I'll do it right now. So I'm just going to take a piece of basic white. I forgot to prep this part. So I'm just going to take a piece of basic white, and I'm just going to cut this at 3.5. And then at 8. Oh, wait, not 3.5, 3.25. Whew. 3.25 by 8.25. That's what we want. So 3.25 by 8.25. We'll just trim that down. And then this Thank you, Kimberly. This can go on the inside of my card. So I'll just put some multi-purpose glue on there. And then this can just go right inside. Now, of course, you could stamp something on here, but I'm just going to leave it blank. There we go. Isn't that fun? So a fun slimline card. Let me show you my sample card. You can tell me. I switched up the patterns a little bit. So what do you think? I kind of changed around those patterns. So I can't decide because these dots, they kind of look like it's raining, right? But I just love the plaid so much that I love having all that extra plaid on there. So I don't know. What do you think? Which one do you like better? And then you can also see this has got that cut off under the stems. And then this has that little bit of white there. So kind of how I changed it up. All right, let me show you my other samples. Now I'll admit, I don't like my other samples as much. This was my favorite, so that's why I showed it to you. But here is another one where I had the rain boots and then I used the other flowers. Now these flowers, I stamped those on some Petal Pink Designer Series paper using Calypso Coral. There was no coloring on this card. It was just, pattern paper. And then the top is white and I embossed it with the dots embossing folder. I'm so sad that folder is going away because I love it. Anyway, you think tonight's is slightly better? I think so too. I kind of like the way it looks like it's raining. So there's that one. And then this one, again, I was kind of like, I should do this again because I think I would put pool party up here. But anyway, there's that. And then here are, two little pots of flowers instead of the rain boots. So those are my 3 cards for you this evening. I hope that you have enjoyed them. Thank you again so much for joining me tonight. I am so glad that you stopped by so that we can make some fun cards together. I hope that I will see you again next week, Thursday night, for another fun evening of card making. And honestly, you guys, right now, I have no idea what I'm doing next week. But I hope to see you there. Have a fabulous night. Have a fabulous weekend. And hopefully you spend some time crafting. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.